So if you've ever used something like ChatGPT, you've seen firsthand what an AI model based on the transformer architecture can do. It absolutely changed the game for how machines understand language. Today we're going to break down exactly how it works right from scratch.
To really get why the transformer was such a big deal, we have to rewind a little. You see, for a long time, the best AI models processed language sequentially. They basically marched through a sentence one word at a time, trying to remember what came before.
But that step-by-step approach, which seemed so logical, was actually a huge limitation. It was slow and it really struggled with complex, long-range ideas. So the big question became, what if an AI could just stop reading word by word and see the whole picture, all at once?
And that brings us to what we call the sequential bottleneck. To really understand the breakthrough, we have to look at the wall that older models like recurrent neural networks, or RNNs, had run smack into.
Now, for years, these RNNs were state-of-the-art. They worked by trying to keep this sort of running memory of a sentence, updating it with each new word. But think about it. It's like trying to understand a whole movie by watching it through a tiny pinhole. You only see one frame at a time. It created this massive processing bottleneck.
And this led to two huge problems. First, because everything had to be done in order, you couldn't use modern parallel computing to speed up training. It was just painfully slow. And second, the model had a terrible memory. The connection between a word at the beginning of a paragraph and one at the end got weaker and weaker with every word in between. AI had hit a brick wall.
And then, in 2017, a paper from a team at Google came out that offered a radical solution to both of these problems at the same time. The title was simple, almost elegant. Attention is all you need. And this quote gets right to the point. Their idea was to build a totally new architecture, the transformer, that just threw out sequential processing completely. Gone. Instead of reading word by word, it would use this new mechanism called attention to see and process every single word in a sentence at the exact same time.
This table really drives home just how big of a leap this was. With the old models, connecting two distant words took more and more steps the longer the sentence got. But with self-attention, the number of steps is always one. It's constant. Suddenly, any two words, no matter how far apart, had a direct, instant connection. It was a complete game changer.
And this wasn't just a cool idea in theory. The results were immediate and they were huge. The transformer didn't just inch past the old records, it completely shattered them. On a major translation benchmark, it set a new state-of-the-art score, and it did it with way less training time and cost.
Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of it all, this self-attention thing. How does it actually work? How can a model figure out the importance of every word simultaneously?
Well, it starts by creating three distinct vectors, basically just lists of numbers, for every single word. The first one is called the query. You can think of the query as the word asking a question. For example, if you have the word it, its query vector is essentially asking, hey, what am I actually referring to in this sentence? The second vector is the key. So while one word is asking a question with its query, every other word generates a key, which acts like a label, advertising its properties. A word like robot might have a key that says, I am a physical object, a noun.
And finally, we have the value vector. This one's easy. It just contains the word's actual meaning or substance. So if the key is the label on a filing cabinet drawer, the value is the actual file inside.
So here's how it all comes together. First, the model takes the query from one word and basically compares it to the key of every other word in this sentence. That gives it a raw relevance score. Second, it scales those scores down, a little math trick to keep things stable. Third, it runs those scores through a function called softmax, which turns them into nice clean percentages that all add up to 100%. These are your attention weights. And finally, it multiplies those percentages by each word's value vector. What you get at the end is a brand new representation for the original word, now packed with context from all the other words it paid attention to.
Now, you might be wondering about that scaling step. It seems a little random, right? Well, it turns out it's this incredibly clever but crucial piece of engineering. The authors found that without it, the math could blow up and create huge numbers that would basically stop the model from learning anything. This simple division keeps the whole training process smooth and efficient.
But of course, they didn't stop there. They realized that instead of doing this whole query key value dance just once, it was way more powerful to do it multiple times in parallel. This is what's called multi-head attention.
It's like having a whole committee of specialists reading the sentence at the same time. One head might be figuring out who did what to whom, while another is tracking descriptive words. This gives the model a much richer, more layered understanding of the text.
Okay, so there was just one little problem left to solve. If you throw out sequential processing and look at everything at once, how does the model know the order of the words? The dog bit the man is very different from the man bit the dog. The solution was actually pretty simple. They added a little piece of information to each word called a positional encoding. It's basically a little tag that says, I'm word number 1, I'm word number 2, and so on.
All right. Now that we have all the building blocks, self-attention, multi-head attention, and positional encodings, we can finally assemble the full architecture.
The original transformer was built for machine translation, and it had two main parts. First, you have the encoder. Its only job is to read the entire input sentence, say in English, and build a deep contextual understanding of it. Then you have the decoder, which takes that rich understanding and starts generating the output sentence, say in German, one word at a time. Now, the decoder is a lot like the encoder, but with two crucial twists. First, its own self-attention is masked. This basically prevents it from cheating by looking ahead at the correct answer while it's being trained. And second, it has an extra attention layer that connects it back to the encoder. This lets the decoder look over the entire input sentence and decide which parts are most important for generating the very next word in the output.
The success of the transformer in translation was really just the beginning. The truly massive impact came when researchers realized that these two halves, the encoder and the decoder, were incredibly powerful all on their own.
And this architectural split gave birth to the two dominant families of language models we have today. The encoder-only models, like BERT, became absolute masters of understanding text. The decoder-only models, like GPT, became the experts at generating text. Pretty much the entire modern AI landscape was built on top of this single, powerful idea.
So, by swapping that slow, step-by-step march with the lightning-fast, parallel power of attention, the transformer didn't just break a few records. It laid a completely new foundation for AI. It started with unlocking the secrets of language, but the core idea of understanding all the relationships in a complex system all at once is incredibly profound, which leaves us with the big question: what will it unlock next?